All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Libraries and Weight Rooms podcast. My name is DJ Ligori, and we are officially on episode number 115. And as you can see, if you're watching this, I don't think you can necessarily tell if you're listening to this, but we didn't do the intro, and we will not be doing the outro for this episode. That is because I'm not in our home studio in Tampa, Florida right now. I'm actually in a mastermind retreat in San Diego, California. So if you're watching this, I'm actually right now looking over this beautiful canyon on the back patio of the Airbnb that I'm at, and just super grateful to get to experience this and have the opportunity to learn from fellow mastermind members that I'm about to meet for the first time ever. And just really grateful and really appreciative to be here. And I thought this would be a cool way to do this podcast right on the back deck and talk about something that I actually experienced today traveling to San Diego. And I thought this might be applicable for something for all of us to focus on. And so in my route to San Diego today, I was waiting in the airport, and I had a carry-on bag. And it was jam-packed. I had way too much stuff in there. And I'm a big carry-on guy just because I know from family vacations that we've gone on before, we have lost luggage or it's come late. And I said, you know what, why don't we just avoid that possibility and just always be a carry-on guy? And so my buddies and I have become masters at jamming things into small gym bags and backpacks. And I just had a backpack just because it's just a quick weekend here in San Diego. And the flight that I was getting on was a completely full flight. And the flight attendant said, we are now going to be basically checking the bags. You get a complimentary checked bag if you would like. And I was sitting there, and I'm in the last group 9, and I'm going, I really don't want to do this. I really do not want to do this. But why do I think I can do this? And I basically had this idea kind of flood in my head. I said, you know what, why don't we just trust the airlines here? Why don't we just trust this process that it's actually going to get to me in San Diego, and I'm actually going to have a much easier time of travel. I'm not going to be lugging around this giant book bag. I'm only just going to be me, and it's going to be a much more pleasant experience. So I tried to change my meaning that I gave to checking this bag, and I walked up to the front desk, and I asked the lady, I said, hi, I said, I'd like to actually just check this bag. And she said, all right. She said, what's your seat number? She got all the information, and she said, it'll meet you in San Diego. And I said, this is really going to meet me in San Diego? And I don't think she fully got what I was saying. And she said, yeah, it's just going to meet you in San Diego. I said, all right, I'm trusting you guys. And she said, okay. So I got on the plane. My first flight went from Tampa to Charlotte. Next flight went from Charlotte to San Diego, and it was fantastic because I wasn't lugging around this backpack the whole time. I was just walking around hands-free. It was great. Got on my second flight, landed in San Diego, and I said, all right, here's the moment of truth. Let's see if this kind lady in the Tampa airport was giving me a line of BS or if my stuff is actually going to be here in San Diego. So I walked down to the baggage claim, and as I come walking up, my book bag is sitting right there on the little conveyor belt. And I walk right up to it, and it literally just moves like right into my hands, like it was just missing me and waiting for me. And I smiled, and I grabbed my backpack, and I put it on my back, and I went, wow, that had to be one of the most efficient things I think I've ever been a part of. And throughout the whole trip of me actually being on the airplanes and realizing I was not with my bag, I was kind of starting to play this idea in my head of, all right, if I was to lose everything in that bag, would it be okay? And I'm like, well, I got car keys in that bag, I got house keys, and I'm like, that might be kind of tough, but I could probably figure out how to get those. Everything else is pretty quickly irreplaceable, or pretty quickly replaceable. And so it was such a refreshing feeling when I actually got the bag. I was like, all right, I don't have to replace any of this stuff, right? It's all here. So I think the greater lesson here is that in our life, there's going to be a lot of things that we cannot control, all right? Once I gave my bag to that lady, I had no control if I actually saw it again until me actually walking up to it and actually getting that bag. We can't control aging. We can't control genetics. We can't control other people's actions. Sometimes we can't even control the results that we're trying to create. All we can essentially control is the moment, right? The way we're behaving, our attitude, our effort, the personality we're bringing to the world, the energy we're bringing to the world. It all seriously just boils down to what we can do in the moment of wherever we're at, right? We cannot change the past. We've all talked about this thousands, if not millions of times, that the past is the past and we cannot change it. And the future has not happened yet. And the future is essentially determined by what we do in this very moment. Our attitude, our behavior, our energy, our personality, right? All of those things. So if we want a better future, why don't we just focus on what we're actually being, doing, and acting like right now? And so because we cannot control so much of the exterior world around us, we have to live with a little bit of trust. We have to live with some sort of faith that things are going to work out, at least to a minimal standard, right? Things might always not work out incredible, and things might not always work out horrible. Yet if we stay in this belief that I have faith that things are going to work out, I have trust that the airline is actually going to get me my bag, we essentially are deciding not to be stressed about things that we cannot control. Because I think that a lot of our stress and our anxiety comes from trying to control the uncontrollable, right? We're trying to put our hands in certain pots and dictate things that we really have no ability when it comes to actually predicting and controlling that outcome, right? So if we just stay in this moment, understand that we can trust systems and processes and people moving forward. And I understand if we have evidence in the past of not being able to trust systems, processes, and people, it's going to be harder, right? It's going to be more of an obstacle. Yet if we live our life never trusting anybody or never trusting any processes, that's going to be pretty difficult, right? And that might not necessarily be something we want to do, and that might cause super high levels of stress, anxiety, overwhelm, all of that. So our main goal for today is to have more trust with life, have more faith with life, have a belief that things are actually going to work out in a way that actually favors you. One of the things that we say all the time at Acres of Diamonds is that life is always working for you. Life is always working for you, and sometimes in those moments we might not see why life is working for you. When you break up with your significant other, when you lose that big client, when you fail that test that was really important to you, how could life possibly be working for me in those moments? Well, those moments may lead to something different that might completely put you on a different path, that might completely end up in this outcome or this destination, and you wouldn't have gotten to that point if you hadn't experienced that moment. So in those moments, we might not necessarily see why life is working for us, but if we stay in that belief and trust that it actually is, the possibilities are endless moving forward. So I want to say thank you to all the airlines who successfully got me my book bag back. It prompted episode number 115 today. And real quick too, if anybody wants to sign up for the Daily Diamonds, they have been ripping the past couple of months. We've gotten some great feedback from them, and people have been signing up for them every week now. You can go to yourdailydiamonds.com. They're completely free, and you'll get your first one upon submission, yourdailydiamonds.com. And other than that, episode number 115, that is a wrap from San Diego. Thank you everybody so much for tuning in to this episode. I hope you got some value out of it and hope that we can trust ourselves and our life path moving forward. That's going to be all right and it's going to work out. So thank you guys so much for your time, your energy, and tuning in. And we will talk to you guys soon. Have a great week.